It's differentiated, so the individual has a negative and a positive element, and culture has a negative and a positive element, and nature does as well, and that makes the potential for plots much broader. And I think it's also very useful to know that entire story, because I think it's one of the things that protects you against ideology. It's like, okay, if someone tells you a political story, or a story of any sort, you can always ask, well, where are the missing characters? Human beings are terrible, they've erected a culture that's destroying the planet, and nature is benevolent and pristine. It's like, yeah, fair enough, accurate, but you're missing half the characters. Because humans are not just terrible, rapacious creatures, and culture is not just a destructive force, and nature is by no means on our side. So where's the missing characters? You need all the characters in the representation to get it right. And I really believe this to be true. So for example, if you want to protect yourself against trauma as you move forward in life, you have to be very aware of the three negative characters. You have to know that the human individual has an adversarial element that's malevolent right to the core. And if you don't know that, and you run across someone who's malevolent, you will end up damaged. So because first, you won't be able to defend yourself. You'll just be like a ripe fruit tree for the plucking. And second, the mere existence of someone like that will pose such a threat to the way that you've organized the world that it might collapse on you. That happens to people all the time. So it really matters whether you know these categories, and it matters that you know that culture can become tyrannical. But that it's also the father that's given you everything. And it matters that everything good comes from nature, and that we need to live in harmony with nature to some degree, but that it's also hell-bent on our destruction every second. And it's very paradoxical. It's a hard thing to reconcile with a thought structure like modern science that's based on a strict logic that always says something can't be itself and its opposite at the same time. But human beings can certainly be something and its opposite at the same time. And anything truly complex can have that, and does have that nature. If someone offers you a new job, you think, well, that's positive. It's like, no, it's not. It's positive and negative and complex. It might be the solution to your problem, but at the same time, it's going to generate a whole host of other problems. So lots of times, we're encountering entities in some sense that have an internally paradoxical structure, and we have to deal with that entire set of paradoxes, or we don't survive. It's really a matter of survival. Okay, and then there's this overarching symbol, which is the dragon of chaos, which is potential itself, and it's the potential from which all of these categories emerge. And so the most abstract category of our imagination is that which is beyond our understanding, the category of that which is beyond our understanding. And that seems to me to be represented, because we can only use the representational structures that we evolved, is that it's represented in our paradoxical representation of the predator and the treasure that lies beyond the perimeters of our safe societies. So what's out there beyond? Well, we don't know, but we need to know, because we need always to deal with what we don't know. So weirdly enough, we have to come up with a category of what we don't know in order to start formalizing a theory about how we might progress towards it and interact with it. It's a very paradoxical idea. And there's a paradoxical answer, right? It's the terrible predator that lurks in the unknown that also harbors something of great value. Perfect. Perfect. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I think that is a reflection of the fact that human beings are predator animals and prey animals at the same time. So what's out there in the terrible darkness? Something that can destroy you, but also something that you absolutely need. So how do you prepare yourself for that? And that's the ultimate question of life. It's not how do you deal with death, although death is a subcomponent of the terrible unknown, I would say. It's how do you deal with that which is beyond your understanding, which is constantly manifesting itself in the world. And that manifests itself every time you categorize something and the thing escapes from the category. And that happens most in interpersonal relationships, because people are so damn complicated. You get them figured out and boxed in. You even make a contract that neither of you will jump outside the box, but you jump outside the box continually. And that's why a relationship requires constant negotiation and reconceptualization, because you do not exhaust the person with your perceptual categories. And of course, you don't exhaust the world with your perceptual categories ever.